by JM&E. The Takeover is also available via the BS3 Network. I am, of course, KG Chris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Joining me is Miss Kenitra Pulliams. KP, how are you doing?
I'm good. You know how they say Texas has like 12 seasons? Like, how many have we experienced? I don't
This
know,
week?
in the last 2 days.
3. I think 3. Fall, winter, and summer. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like kind of fall and rainy fall.
Rainy spring-ish as well. So maybe all 4. So yeah, that's how it is here in Texas. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Got to get this out of the way, of course.
Okay.
Great to see you again.
Thank
The
you.
Takeover is sponsored by Bayou Beat News, bringing that Southern love to your daily news coverage. Miss Pulliams, the last time you joined me on the Takeover was prior to the NFL big game.
Mm-hmm.
It was completed a few days ago. Surprising result to many. Did it surprise you in the dominance that the Eagles displayed?
The dominance, yes. The outcome, no. To me, the Chiefs look shell-shocked. I'm not surprised by, the Eagles' vaunted defense, did what they were supposed to do, but I was surprised by how frequently the defense got to Patrick Mahomes and rattled him.
And just the front 4.
Yeah. Like the thing is, like, it's not really a blitz. It was just kind of like, all right, we're just going to pressure. Okay.
And that's the thing. That's what every defense coordinator, that's their dream, is to be able to pressure the quarterback with just your front, your defensive line.
Yeah.
Without having to send extra bodies. So salute to the Eagles, their fans, Don Staley, etc. They got it done. I was surprised at the way they did it, the manner of the dominance they did.
Mm-hmm.
The scores the Chiefs put up changed a few lines and other things that I may have been a part of, may not have been a part of. That's for another time and show. Another show.
Hey, it was nice for Xavier Worthy, to score twice. So, as a rookie and his first Super Bowl. So, hey.
But you are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover on Facebook, YouTube, and Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV. If you have a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. If you don't have it, shame on you. But you can fix that by going to BS3Network.com or BS3TVLive.com. And yes, these shows are available on demand on Roku via the BS3 Network app. How cool is that? And back to it one more time in these first 5 minutes of the show. The Houston Roundball Review Takeover is sponsored by Bayou Beat, BayouBeatNews.com. Bayou Beat, bringing that Southern love to your daily news coverage. Have you given any thought to the way too early NFL stuff for next year?
No, absolutely not.
Do you care about that at all?
Not one bit.
I don't either. Although,
because so much has, you've got free agency and you've got combine, you've got the draft, and no.
Yeah. A second item on our agenda today that you were not privy to discussing last Thursday's show that Mr. Willie Gibson, joined me on to discuss the Luka to the Lakers trade. First, what was your initial reaction when you saw or heard about it?
Shock. Like the magnitude of the trade going down. Wow.
Did you believe it was real?
Yeah, I did, but I just, the fact that you hadn't heard whispers
Mhm.
about either Luka or AD, being traded. And then, they swap for each other. And then, kind of disheartening, but like their availability,
Mhm.
their sustained availability, has long been, in question. But, and then I didn't realize I had forgotten how young Luka is.
Yeah.
But it's tough, just to see what the Mavericks said about their reasoning for shipping him out. That's kind of sad. And then you hear, former owner, Mark Cuban saying he wouldn't have done it, and he tried to discourage current ownership from doing it. And then you're always going to have fans who are upset when, one of the players from their team, is no longer with the team. But like, the way that Mavs fans have reacted, but I mean, it's almost a lost season for the Mavericks. They can't stay healthy. They don't have depth. And so it's just kind of like, and then, hey, AD comes and he doesn't even make it through his first game. I mean, like, like they're a snake bit franchise this season.
And I mean, there's a few different angles and layers to discuss. I'm curious, what is your opinion of the reasons, the rationale that the Mavs and Nico Harrison have given for trading Luka?
Yeah, that he is not committed to staying in shape.
Do you agree with that?
I don't know, because I don't, all we know is that, hey, he's been not in uniform for a prolonged period of time. And even when they said, earlier in the season when, he did not play, it was to help him, whether they tried to, cover it up saying it's something else, but really it was a conditioning issue, that, I mean, they know. And the fact that the organization took different steps as far as a nutritionist and, all the other resources, to maybe help Luka be available for the duration of a season. But I mean, the thing that's scary is that he's still, even in their opinion of being out of shape, still putting up numbers.
Right. And that's my take away from it is, okay, you could see during games he may have the body type where he will never be cut and ripped and defined muscles and all those things. Okay, that's fine. But neither does Joker.
No,
there are other players in the league. I'm not making a white black issue. There are other players like that who aren't just ripped. Luka was still all NBA. He was still first team all league, and yet the Mavs decided to draw a line in the sand and say, that's the hill we're going to die on. That's just so lacking. It's weak. The rationale, okay, Nico, his PR people should have said, we were not comfortable with giving Luka $375 million for 5 years in his next contract. That should have been the first statement. And then folks could come back and say, well, why weren't you comfortable with doing that? Then you could go into A, B, C, and still be general with it. Make it a financial issue, because there are a lot of fans who, I'm going somewhere right now on the show, but there are some fans who money is important and believe that players aren't worth what they're getting from ownership. That's too much money. Oh, he doesn't deserve that. We hear that line all the time. We've heard it for years. He doesn't deserve that. And I always say, if ownership is going to offer it, I'm going to sign it. just like most of y'all will too. So whether I'm I deserve it because they're paying it. So that's why I deserve it.
I mean, if somebody thinks you're worth it,
Yes.
okay.
So, but if they would have made money the first issue, that might have won over some people. But Luka's a global icon. He's been a pro since he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
So coming after him, and he's been all NBA for so long. So coming after him or justifying trading him because of conditioning when he still put up all league numbers was just the wrong way to go. And then top it off, you acquiring in return a talented player who has also dealt with injuries. And as you said, being available, sustained for a long time. So your argument for getting rid of one is negated by who you got in return.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you have so out of shape is better than fragile, injury prone. Like.
And they rushed AD back.
Yeah.
Okay, the injury he had or has now, the adductor injury he's had before, it takes weeks. 4-6 weeks to recover and to play in the NBA at his level of skill.
Effectively, yeah.
Effectively. They rushed him back. He had a hell of a first half. He destroyed the Rockets. He dominated Alfred Şengün. They had no answer for him. So much so at halftime, Ime Udoka and the coaches for the Rockets decided in the locker room, we got to go a double big lineup because we cannot handle this, AD by himself. And then in third quarter, a non-contact, he collapsed to the court. Initially, folks thought he got hit in the manhood area to cause him to drop like he did. No, the injury was not healed completely.
Yeah.
So now he's going to be out a few more weeks, 3-4 weeks or whatever.
I mean, and that's like what, like, why not just from, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they rushed him back because trying to do some damage control from the trade. So let me try and pacify the audience, our season ticket holders, our fans, to say, look, we got the better end of this trade. We know what we're doing. Why not just sit him until after the All-Star break?
Yes. I mean, that would have been the wise thing. And it's not even hindsight being 2020. Common sense should have said, if there was any doubt whether he was as close to 100% as possible, then don't play him until after the break.
Yeah.
What's the
rush? You can even count, show him at practice, have your social media team release the footage. Oh, look, and you could have an 80 countdown clock, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, even the Lakers, it's Luka's debut got pushed back. He played against Utah. They rolled past Utah.
Okay. Speaking of, just the way not necessarily the Lakers did it, but the way ESPN did it, to me, was kind of shady.
Well, Monday, hold on thought real quick, because I'm let you speak. But to Kook fans and Baylor fans, it was very shady.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Big Monday is like a staple on ESPN. 8:00 is the Big 12 game. But just to see Luka's delayed debut. So we're 11 minutes left in the game. Okay, we're going to push it. And not even push it to ESPN2. Push it to ESPNU. Come on. Really? That didn't sit well with me as a fan.
And it's another example of ESPN's treating the Big 12 like it's is it PC to say this or not? Like it's redheaded stepchild.
No, I mean, because like, who do they have on ESPN two? Florida Atlantic or
Yeah, it was another game. I think it was a game in the American Conference. I think so.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, really? You got
So
a top
those
5
things,
team in the country, and you're going to like banish them?
Brett Yormark should have been. I hope he was livid. I hope he was pissed off. I can say that here on my show, AJ. Hope that's okay. After the fact, as I already said it, but those are just more needles that the 4-letter network just like pokes at the Big 12. They love the SEC, rightfully so. Football, basketball, men's hoops is just women's hoops too. Great, okay. They love the ACC, less rightfully so, but they do have the network, the linear network. Big 12, oh yeah, we have ESPN Plus. Big 12, it used to be Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. They don't even say that anymore. It's just kind of like ESPN Plus. It's all grouped together, which is even worse because at least when it was referred to as Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, you got identifier, some recognition, some name, some brand recognition up for the Big 12. Now in press releases, I mean, not now, it's been months. It's, oh yeah, subscribe to ESPN Plus and you can see Big 12 games. Oh, okay. That's another problem for the conference. They got to fix that.
Afterthought.
So another afterthought indication, they have to lean more into their relationship with Fox, their relationship with Warner Brothers, WBD, whatever you want to call it, whatever, and get more games on those platforms because it's more and more obvious. I mean, ESPN is saying the quiet part out loud. Yes, we're going to give you your money. We're going to honor our contracts, but you're not the ACC. You're not the SEC.
You're not a priority.
You are not a priority. Brett Yormark is a smart person, business-wise. So I'm sure he's, taking these notes down and that next contract negotiations, what starts in like 2030, because the new deal will end 31, so maybe an 18-month window, whatever kind of thing, whatever it is. But those kind of things, just Big 12 is not a priority for ESPN. It's more and more apparent, more and more obvious, more and more glaring. And as someone who covers a team, well, hell, I cover the conference, but a specific team in the conference, that bothers me.
But and this is a tangent. It's not so much centered on ESPN. But like, this week, mid-season, late season Wooden Award watch list comes out. Nobody from Houston's on there.
Yes.
First place team in the Big 12. Top 5 team in the country. And not a single player.
And I noticed it was last week. This week is the Wooden Award. Whatever the award, I think the Naismith the same way. The only award, it's two national awards that a Cougar is on, is the Defensive Player of the Year award. That's JoJo Tugler. And then the USBWA Basketball Writers Award, Emmanuel Sharp is on that. That's it. Not the Naismith Trophy, not the Wooden Award. And okay, Coach Sampson, he doesn't care. But he can use it as motivation in all those,
Sure.
But as the best team in the Big 12, and I'll be honest, before the Cougs joined the Big 12, I did not expect this level of success from the men's basketball team in the Big 12 initially.
So soon.
Oh, soon. No, I mean, yeah. Last year, I thought they'd lose like 5 or 6 games, and I'd be cool with that because Big 12 is so great, such a tough conference. To win the league by 2 games blew me away. This year, they only have 1 loss so far. That surprised me. They've had some luck involved, as KU fans can attest. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Exactly.
So it's and now, because you said that, it's another example of the H-Town versus everybody mindset that Houstonians, Cougar fans, fans of Houston sports teams wear that badge with pride. Okay, well, that's what they think about us. Fine, we're going to win without win the championship or whatever. Big 12, this, fine. Next on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review, Takeover, powered by JMNE, sponsored by Bayou Beat News, BayouBeatNews.com. Thank you for your support, Miss Nakia Cooper. Bayou Beat News, bringing that Southern love to your daily news coverage. I'm going to toss KP a curveball. This was news to me last day or so. So I'm sharing it with you. The Players Era Tournament is growing, set to distribute over $24 million later on this year to 2025. This past fall, the Players Era Tournament doled out, and this is from On3, Pete Nakos with On3. The Players Era Tournament doled out $9 million total in NIL dollars to the 8 teams participating in the tourney's inaugural year. Now the tournament is growing with no cap on the number of teams that could be involved in 2025. Working with its NIL partner, The Link U. I'm going to stop right there, KP. The Link U is a collective. Founder is a UH alum. Played football for the Cougs back 2011, 2012. So for them, Link U to partner with Players Era Festival is great for the Link U. And it's a national collective, so they have other collectives involved. I'm surprised because I did not know they were doing that well. One, I'm okay with it, but I'm also going to toss a little pebble at them. If any, when alums watch this show, Lincoln Cougs is the Cougar-related collective under the Link U umbrella. Y'all know who I am. Y'all see me around. Don't act like you don't know my email address. Don't act like you don't know my phone number. You know how to contact me. You don't know how to reach out and advertise on all the shows that I'm part of. But some of y'all, I get crickets. So let's put it out there, and I'm going to put on my business hat. I'm going to be nice, KP. Miss Wanda, I'm being nice. Because I could say more and not be nice. But I would cut my nose off. No, that's not going to be smart. All right there. Folks who are involved with Lincoln Cougs, I can name names, but I won't. Reach out, advertise at thehrr.com. Y'all have contacts and corporations who could advertise on these shows. I'm on many platforms. I was on TV Tuesday morning talking hoops. Just saying, TV, linear, digital. I can do it all. KP, let's put it out there. I'm not being arrogant, but if I don't say it, who will? Okay. Back to the article, because there's some more tidbits in here. Players Era has plans to dish out more money. The tournament expects, keep right there, KP, expects to spend north of $24 million in NIL payments this year between its men's and women's basketball tournaments.
What's the ratio?
Great question. Not an article. Great question. But Tennessee, Kansas, Auburn, Gonzaga, Iowa State, Michigan, St. Joseph's, St. John's, Syracuse, and Baylor will all be new to the men's tournament later this year. The wording of this sentence is kind of wrong. Alabama, Creighton, Houston, Notre Dame, Oregon, Rutgers, San Diego State, and Texas A&M are also expected to return to the men's tourney. That's wrong, because those 8 teams signed 3-year contracts to be part of the Players Era Festival. So they're not going to back out of it in the middle of the deal. But anyway.
There are always
sure
loopholes in contracts.
But based on the money doled out and other events, I mean, if there's a competitor to the Players Era Festival, that's what it would take to probably get some of these teams to find loopholes to get out of their deal. But that's in the future. I think another similar competitor will grow, just not this year. this coming season?
Well, here's my question.
Sure.
So with more teams being added, how much more challenging is it to schedule so that you don't have conference
Oh,
rivals?
that's not an issue anymore. The NCAA's blanket waiver got rid of that, so that's no longer a
But
problem. Go ahead.
but would coaches be in favor of that?
Probably not, but
That's my question. It's like, would coaches be like, I mean, I really don't want to Houston, Iowa State,
yes.
KU, Houston. I mean, would Kelvin Sampson and Bill Self want to play each other early season when you know you got to face them twice?
That's a great point. Great question. I wonder if the coaches have already begun talking to the conference offices, their respective conference offices, as well as the players' era tournament. Hey, we're only going to play this conference opponent once in our conference schedule.
Right.
So I'm okay with playing them in Vegas. But if we're playing them twice in conference in league play, I don't want to play them a third time in Vegas. Fair. So maybe they've already done that.
Right.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Because
that's a great point, though.
Because Kansas plays Arizona only once
in
the regular season.
That's a great point. Okay. So. Last Thursday, Tennessee Vols. And it's the Vols, so you don't talk about the men, because if I was talking about women's team, it will be the Lady Vols. And I will say the Lady Vols because they are a brand. All right. Thursday, February 6th, Players Era announced the University of Tennessee men's basketball team is the latest national powerhouse program to join the field for the 2025 Players Era Men's Championship in Las Vegas. Tennessee joins Kansas and Auburn as the latest entrants to the 2025 field. The trio joins the 8 teams that played. I already read all that. And the 7 other previously committed teams. So all of that. News is Tennessee's now in it. To create a first of its kind men's college basketball showcase, the 2025 Players Era Men's Championship will debut an entirely new format that combines international style group play with championship matchups. I got that from the Tennessee Vols press release. Okay. Because that little tidbit has not been mentioned really in the other releases for the other teams participating in it. So it's going to be group play. And the current count on the men's side, I'm going the wrong way. Let me see if I can get to the slide here, is 18 teams so far. Okay. Here are the first 8.
So you do pods of 6?
Well, I'm thinking they're going to go to 20. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see.
Okay.
Yep. Bama, Auburn, Baylor, Creighton.
5.
Gonzaga, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas. That's 8. And then these 10. Michigan, Notre Dame, Oregon, Rutgers, San Diego State, St. Joe's, St. John's, Syracuse, Tennessee, A&M. So that's 18. I think they're going to go to 20. But I'm curious because the more teams, if they go to 20, if they go to 18, say at 18, how many other games will they have non-conference?
Right.
If they have 20, so 2 more teams, they add 2 more teams to the Players Era tournament, and have let's go with, I guess, 4 groups of 5.
4 groups. Okay.
Okay. So you have 4 games in group play?
Yep. Semifinal, final.
And then you add, how would you do? Then the winners advance to the semifinals or the quarterfinals. I don't know. If you're going to do quarterfinals, then that's another game.
No, yeah. Winners of each advance to the semis.
So winners of the groups on the winner's side go to the semifinals on the winner's side. So you'd have 4 games, semifinal, that's 5, and then a final game.
6.
So 2 teams can play 6 games.
If you're going to play a consolation,
Right. So you could play up to 6 games in Vegas. That means you can only schedule 5 games for the rest of your non-conference schedule?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then who was Bobby Hurley talking about getting away from multi-event.
Yes. So
You know,
who's Danny Hurley?
Danny.
Danny Hurley. UConn.
So here's the
UConn
thing.
Hurley. Yep.
I mean, so are we talking about? So hey, we're gonna do this, you know, we're playing this in November.
Yes.
So,
And there's no date for it. No, it just says November.
That's, you know, so like, how much school?
Oh, KP, come on, school. What are you talking about? School? What?
I mean, I know, you know, I know that we have all of these exempt tournaments, but usually, you know, you play 3 games.
Right.
Now you're playing 6, or the possibility of 6, and you're not playing them consecutive days.
So I'm wondering how this is going to work. What if they do 5 groups of 4,
mm-hmm.
and then you have the 5 group winners, do like the plan for the NBA tournament, the 5 group winners, and then the 3 best other records, and then that's your quarterfinals.
But then you know,
on and on and on.
Right, but then like that's the thing. But then what's the tiebreaker?
Oh, I mean, this is all. We're asking great questions to answers that I don't have. That I don't know yet. I'm going to try to find out.
Point differential?
Probably. I would think so. That was kind of problematic this year.
Yeah. But then, and then another thing is, you know, let's just say 6 games. And let's just say, you know, you're playing them every other day. So that now, I mean, because, you know, we saw what attendance was or wasn't. So now you're asking your fans, hey, during the Thanksgiving holiday or during, you know, whenever, come out to Vegas for we don't know how long.
For 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. Yeah. And oh, by the way, I think this is scheduled for Thanksgiving weekend. I think the inaugural Players Era Women's Championship. These 4 teams, Duke, South Carolina, Texas, and UCLA.
But, you know, again,
when are they going to play? Where are they going to play?
Right. And then as we just saw last weekend, you know, was the return game South Carolina and Texas. Yeah. They're playing each other twice already in conference play.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I wonder if the organizers have thought all this through. If these questions have been asked, are being asked, because logistics needs to be resolved. The more teams, I mean, clearly, the more teams on the men's side that are in it, that are participating, that should be more games. That's more days.
Right.
Longer duration for fans, cost, flights, hotels, all of those things need to be considered. And fans, many of them, even the wealthy ones, wealthy folks have budgets too. It's just way more than us common folk. But we all have budgets. They need to start planning for this. Okay, well, if the Cougs are going to be in Vegas for 10 days, and we don't know whatever it's going to be, I got to figure out how many days I can be there, said Joe Coug fan number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I can only be there for 4 days. Or what hotel are going to be at? Or I need to know all these things. Will there be team packages for the fans?
Right.
Will they receive discounts if they do X, Y, Z? All of those things.
And what about the spirit groups? Cheerleaders,
yes.
Band, you know, for an indeterminate amount of time. Do you like, because you want environment, you want atmosphere. Like, you don't just want family. I mean, like, lots of questions.
And the more participating teams, are you going to have games taking place simultaneously?
Right. Different venues.
Which, won't that detract from your ticket sales? Won't that attract from the in-arena environment for TV, your streaming partners. Bigger is not always better. 18 teams, 20 teams. Okay. It sounds good on paper. In practice, I have concerns. And of course, one of the initial words in the statement of the release, Players Era has plans to dish out more money. The tournament expects to spend north of $24 million in. Okay. So where is this money coming from? We got 18 men's teams, 4 women's teams. That's 22 teams right there. It's $1 million per team. That's $22 million. What are you going to give the winners? Women's side gets $1.5 million. Same with the men's side, $1.5 million. So that's still $25 million. But if you have 2 more teams on the men's side for 20, then so what is this?
Sure. And then expenses.
And I hope all that's covered, that the teams aren't paying for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
does that come out of the NIL here? Here's the money. Now you got
KP, maybe you should expect a phone call. Maybe they're going to call you to ask you to go dip into your shoe and sharing the expenses, or Miss Wanda or Bobby or Big Thrillo. Y'all got this deep money, So, I mean, it's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's all going to play out. But you are watching. We're past the bottom of the hour by a few minutes. That's okay. It's great discussion here on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E, sponsored by Bayou Beat, BayouBeatNews.com. Show is streaming to you on YouTube, Roku, Facebook, via the BS3 Network. And if you are new to the show, come again. Don't be a stranger. Hope you enjoy the give and take back and forth that we have here on this show. But if you're wondering, what is BS3 TV, BS3 Network? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to give you this promo so you get an idea of what BS3 TV is all about. I'll be back in 35 seconds because you are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E, sponsored by Bayou Beat News, courtesy of the BS3 Network.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E, sponsored by Bayou Beat News, BayouBeatNews.com, bringing that Southern love to your daily news coverage. I am, of course, KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review, and with me is my colleague and queen, Miss Kenitra Pulliams. KP, again, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Absolutely. Good.
All right. These final moments, this second-ish segment of today's takeover, we're going to talk WNBA expansion, 16th franchise. KP, in the short amount of time we've known each other, you know how I would love for the WNBA to return to the city of Houston. The Athletic put together an article stating nine known formal bids were submitted to the WNBA by the league imposed January 30th deadline. Here we go. First, and it's in alphabetical order, so don't freak out. Well, Houston's in this or whatever, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But more groups than those listed below may have submitted bids. First up, Austin, Texas. A group trying to bring a team to the city has filed a formal bid with a W Three sources briefed on the matter told The Athletic. And check out the names involved. Former Bucks co-owner Mark Lassery is the lead investor in the group, trying to bring another team to Texas, while perennial NBA All-Star Kevin Durant and former UT star and Houston Comets player Fran Harris, who I've known for quite a while, are both involved with the bid, according to a person briefed on the bid. The team would likely play at the Moody Center. Duh, I would hope so. Where the Longhorns compete. The group, KPU, like this, the group plans to build a practice facility for the prospective team if it wins the bid. Next, Charlotte, a group that involves the Hornets ownership group, is trying to bring a team back to the city, which was once the home of the Charlotte Sting. WUNC TV reported that Erica Berman is leading the bid. I'm going to stop right there. Those two, Austin, Charlotte. What do you think about that?
I mean, historically, Charlotte makes sense. Austin it's curious because, to me, I think there has to be the support from the fraternal franchise, and Austin only has a G League team.
Yes.
So I'm curious.
Keep that curiosity in mind.
About the sustainability of that.
Keep that curiosity in mind. Next, Cleveland. Dan Gilbert, the majority owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, formally put in a bid with the WNBA. The bid also includes a plan to get the WNBA team its own practice facility. Denver, a group led by the Diamond family, submitted a formal bid. They intend for the prospective Denver team to play in a purpose-built arena if the WNBA chooses their bid. Thoughts on those two, Cleveland and Denver?
Makes sense.
So the first four, Austin, Cleveland. Any favorites there you have?
No.
Charlotte, Cleveland, Denver? No one out of those four?
No, I mean, no. I mean, Charlotte, Cleveland both have have WNBA history. But I mean, expansion is one thing, relocation is another.
I prefer that, but another thought for later on in the show. Next, Detroit. Tom Gores, the owner of the Pistons, the team that has already doubled their win total from last season, standing at 28-26. Detroit Pistons, Detroit basketball. Oh, I'm sorry. I got off on a tangent there. I'm sorry. But Detroit announced that a group including Hall of Famers Grant Hill and Chris Webber, as well as Lions owner Sheila Ford Hamp and quarterback Jared Goff submitted a bid. The new NBA team would play at Little Caesars Arena, the home of the Pistons, but it would construct a dedicated WNBA practice facility. Houston, Tim Fertitta submitted a bid. This is all that was in the article, KP. The franchise would play at Toyota Center.
Very telling.
Your thoughts on those two?
Very telling. Very.
I agree.
Very light on the details of the bid group and the support and the plans. The other potential host cities. To me, it seems more fleshed out and a collective effort as opposed to the one by Houston.
And I'll say, I've been told that if Houston receives the bid for the 16th franchise or a relocated franchise, which I prefer anyway, that team would practice at the Rockets' new practice facility. So I've been told that. I'm not. I guess the folks at the Athletic were not told that, but I've been told that. So okay, go ahead. What are you going to say?
From the ones that we've discussed so far, they all have either plans to build a purpose-driven either playing arena or practice facility, except for
yes. No,
and listening. I went and listened to Caitlin Clark, WNBA Rookie of the Year, speak last week, and she emphasized the intentional efforts to support Indiana Fever and basketball, and that's been the kind of the common thread throughout this offseason is the dedication and the intentional support for WNBA franchises. By just saying, oh, you can share with the Rockets, like that's not enough to compete with these other franchises. I'm just saying.
Agreed. And
because it seems half-hearted.
Oh, agreed. And the lack of interest, support for women's basketball here in Houston.
And like, Tillman, I'm not, he's not asking me for money, so Tillman Fertitta can do what he wants. But I would think that you would kind of reach out to those, and we've discussed it on previous episodes, reaching out to those who played within the trailblazing championship.
Oh, yes.
You would want their support, their input, So Fran Harris, and I can't tell her, who to lend her support behind, but like, so you played for the Comets, but you're part of the bid group for Austin?
And I need to reach out to Fran and ask her about that. I mean, yes, she is a Texas alum.
Mm-hmm.
Her loyalty, two possible things. Her loyalty could be with them.
Sure.
But also that ownership group may have approached her first.
Yeah.
And one from Tillman's side.
Where you're celebrated, not just tolerated.
Yes. Well put. Well put. That is great. That deserves, I'm going to give you, if I can find it real quick, that deserves some applause, Miss Pulliams. I'm going to do this first.
I received it.
This. Next cities in the article. Kansas City. Look at all this info here they provided. A group led by the NWSL's Kansas City current co-owners, Angie Long, Chris Long, Brittany Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes submitted a formal bid to bring blah, 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 blah. Current co-owner Chris Long told The Athletic that the group has already signed an agreement with T-Mobile Center to be the downtown stadium's anchor tenant, and that the Kansas City WNBA franchise would build a 60,000 square foot privately financed practice facility on land the group already owns in the same area as a current facility. Comment on that.
Yeah. So saw Chris and Angie last week as well, because the awards luncheon, the Win for KC awards luncheon, was held at the T-Mobile Center, which is also where the Big 12 tournaments will be played next month. And the KC Current Stadium was the host of the NWSL Championships this past fall. It is the first venue specifically built for women's sports. and it's a beautiful arena. It sits right on the banks of the river. And then there's all this land in the Kansas City Northland that they're really built. There's where the KC current practice facility is, and they're building an amphitheater in the region. So it's going to become kind of an entertainment district, another entertainment district. In addition to building up around the current stadium, which is like, just north of downtown, they're building up around there as well. So
how far, how many miles or whatever is the current
structure? The practice facility from the stadium?
From
or practice facility from downtown?
From T-Mobile.
You could probably, with no traffic, 15-minute drive.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that input. Another great example of why KP is part of this show. Last two, I think. This is the last two?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nashville and Philly. Nashville Predators owner Bill Haslam and his wife Chrissy announced they had submitted a bid. The team would be called the Tennessee Summit, a nod to former Lady Vols head coach Pat Summitt, Candace Parker, Peyton Manning, Faith Hill, and Tim McGraw would be part of the ownership group. Philadelphia, the ownership group behind the Sixers, is looking to bring a franchise to the city. The 76ers had made their interest known earlier last month when owner Josh Harris, Comcast CEO Brian Roberts, and Philly Mayor Sherelle Parker announced a plan to build a new stadium in the city.
Yeah. I mean, and here, like, now that we have the big picture. So Austin, as we said, there's a G League team. Nashville. I mean, you have a W team, you have a W team. I mean, you have an NBA team in Memphis. The curious one is Kansas City.
Yes.
There is whether you split, because you're right there on the river, Kansas, the bi-state area, Kansas or Missouri, there is no NBA team.
And that's one of the things I think Chris Long stated in the article, that the WNBA could plant a flag in Kansas City and draw fans from all over the area.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the hope.
And because basically, because you have both you have Major League Soccer and you have the NWSL team, both, in Kansas City. You have Major League Baseball, you have NFL, and you minor league baseball, and then you have, all the colleges. So, that, and they've been trying to, since the creation of T-Mobile Center, formerly known as Sprint Center, they've been trying to, there is no anchor tenant.
Okay.
And has never been. They've been kind of the proverbial carrot that's been dangled about, relocation of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Are they going to get an NHL team? There have been exhibition NBA games have been played there, but there's no anchor tenant.
Of those 9, who would be your choice if you were WNBA commissioner, Kathleen Engelbert?
I would like Tennessee, just because of what Pat Summitt meant to women's basketball.
Agreed, and I am biased, and Tennessee would be my choice. Kansas City, I think, has a lot going for it.
Sure.
But Nashville, they have to do their part, and don't just award it to them because it'd be for Pat Summitt.
No.
Make sure they have all their, ducks in a row, everything.
Yeah, I mean, because let's see, as far as, recreational dollars, what are you competing with? So you have the Nashville Sound, so you have minor league baseball, right? You have the Predators. You've got Tennessee Titans. Mm-hmm.
And that's not during their season.
Right.
So, you know.
Right. I just, collectively, and, and
right.
So that's where, in addition to going up against, the brand of the University of Tennessee, so that's what you just think.
I choose to believe
mm-hmm.
if Nashville was awarded a WNBA franchise named after Coach Summit,
mm-hmm.
that there would be some positive synergy between that franchise and the University of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I think they work hand in hand to promote that WNBA franchise. For just a basic reason. Peyton Manning, Candace Parker, Tennessee legends. It's
mm-hmm.
also named for an icon.
Mm-hmm.
So, at some point, a decision will be made. I'll be floored if Houston is awarded a franchise, especially an expansion franchise. I am not holding my breath, but that's another issue. Last thing, real quick. UCLA, USC. Thursday night, Peacock. Women's basketball. Who you got?
UCLA.
Undefeated. KP says they will stay undefeated. Sold out crowd. It just warms my heart to see women's college.
Yeah, but I
crowds.
I did appreciate the Nike ad featuring Juju.
Yes.
During the Super Bowl.
That warms my heart too, considering where I live in the desert when it comes to women's basketball and everything. But anyway, lastly, ma'am, thank you very much. As always, my question to you remains the same. Is your answer the same? Okay. All right. You can keep up with Kenitra Podiums here on the Takeover. So just watch her here on the Takeover, and that's how you will be able to learn her thoughts and opinions on a lot of sports topics. As always, thank you, KP. Thank you to
Certainly.
Bayou Beat News, BayouBeatNews.com. Bayou Beat, bringing that Southern love to your daily news coverage. I am, of course, KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Again, different ways you can send money right there directly. I'm going to get rid of that Cash App. I love Zelle. Zelle is much quicker. But there are ways right there to support the Houston Roundball Review directly. If you want to advertise, you can also do that as well. Advertise at TheHRR.com. Some say some say the. Lastly, I'm proud to say it. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.